fulfil the repeated promises of Parliament to the people and come out of the EU on October the 31st. No ifs or buts.
Fighting words from the new Prime Minister, who laid out his vision for the UK with the usual oratorical flourish.
The doubters, the doomsters, the gloomsters, they are going to get it wrong again. The people who bet against Britain are going to lose their shirts.
These were Boris Johnson's first remarks as Prime Minister. Indeed, his first appearance today. He was notably absent from Parliament, perhaps not to overshadow his predecessor's last Prime Minister's questions. Theresa May didn't hold back from one last sparring match with the leader of the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn.
As a party leader who has accepted when her time was up, perhaps the time is now for him to do the same.
And after this biting remark, May delivered her final farewell to Downing Street, wishing Boris Johnson good fortune and thanking the country.
To serve as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is the greatest honour.
Failing to deliver Brexit will ultimately be Theresa May's legacy, one that saw her heading to Buckingham Palace to tender her resignation far sooner than she might have wanted. A change of the guard on Downing Street isn't just an historic moment, it's an emotional roller coaster. There's empathy for the outgoing Prime Minister, particularly one who failed to deliver what she set out to do and faced so much division. There's then an eerie sense of calm, perhaps a calm before the storm, as everyone awaits the new Prime Minister. And of course, a huge weight of expectation. What will he say? What will he do? And ultimately, what will his legacy be? No doubt the Queen had some words of advice for Mr. Johnson when she asked him to form a government. After all, it's her 14th Prime Minister. And while Boris Johnson entered Downing Street alone, unlike his predecessors who walked in with partners and children, his girlfriend, Carrie Symonds, stood to the side in support.
We, in this government, will work flat out to give this country the leadership it deserves. And that work begins now.
And he was quick to appoint a new crack team. Sajid Javid takes the top role of Finance Minister, becoming the first Asian to hold that position. He bid for the leadership role against Boris Johnson, as did Dominic Raab, staunch Brexiteer and new Foreign Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister. Completing the top team is another Brexiteer, Priti Patel, for Home Secretary. All change at the top, but potentially no change when it comes to division in Parliament and the EU's stance that it will not reopen the withdrawal agreement. Yet this Johnson-led government believes it can succeed where Theresa May's failed. Anna Stewart, CNN, London.
非常に She speaks very clear and beautiful British English. It should be RP, which is really totally different how my English sounds. My English sounds like an American because I studied abroad for 1 year in America. But at the same time, I wish I could speak English like her. And according to the estimate of CNN English Express, her pronunciation is very Brexiteer. We're going to fulfill the repeated promises of Parliament to the people and come out of the EU on October 31st. No ifs or buts. Fighting words from the new Prime Minister, who laid out a vision for the UK with usual oratorical flourish. The doomers, the doubters, the doomers, the gloomers, they're going to get it wrong again. The people who bet against Britain are going to lose their shirts.
We're going to fulfill the repeated promises of Parliament to the people. And come out of the EU on October 31st. No ifs or buts.
Fighting words from the new Prime Minister laid out his vision for the UK with the usual oratorical flourish. The doubters, doomsters,
the
gloomsters, they're going to get it wrong
again. The
again.
people who bet against Britain
are going to lose their
shirts.
shirts. First remark of the Prime Minister.
Indeed, his first appearance today.
He was notably absent from Parliament, perhaps not to overshadow his predecessors.
He was notably absent from Parliament. He was notably absent from Parliament, perhaps not to overshadow his predecessor's last Prime Minister's questions. Theresa May.
First remarks as Prime Minister. Indeed, his first appearance today. He was notably absent from Parliament, perhaps not to overshadow his predecessor's last Prime Minister's questions. Theresa May didn't hold back.
Theresa May didn't hold back from one last sparring match with the leader of opposition.
From one last sparring match with the leader of the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn.
As a party leader who has accepted when her time has won. Perhaps the time is now for him to do the same.
And after this biting remark, May delivered her final farewell to Downing Street,
wishing Boris Johnson good fortune and thanking the country. To serve as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is the greatest honour. Failing to deliver Brexit will ultimately be Theresa May's legacy. Failing to deliver Brexit will ultimately be Theresa May's legacy.
Heading to Buckingham Palace to tender her resignation far sooner than she might have wanted. Deliver Brexit will ultimately be Theresa May's legacy. One that saw her heading to Buckingham Palace to tender her resignation
far sooner than she might have wanted. Far sooner than she might have wanted. Far sooner she might have wanted. Theresa May's legacy, one that saw her heading to Buckingham Palace to tender her resignation far sooner than she might have wanted. Failing to deliver Brexit will ultimately be Theresa May's legacy, one that saw her heading to Buckingham Palace to tender her resignation. Tender her resignation far sooner than she might have wanted.
Change of the guard on Downing Street isn't just an historic moment, it's an emotional roller coaster. There's empathy.
The change of guard of Downing Street isn't just a historic moment, it's an emotional roller coaster.
A change of the guard on Downing Street isn't just a historic moment, it's an emotional roller coaster. There's empathy for the outgoing Prime Minister, particularly one who failed to deliver what she set out to
particularly
do and face so much division. There's then an eerie sense of calm, perhaps the calm before.
There's an eerie sense of calm, perhaps the calm. There is an eerie silent sense of calm, perhaps the calm.
Empathy for the outgoing Prime Minister, particularly one who failed to deliver what she set out to do and faced so much division. There's then an eerie sense of calm. There's an
eerie sense of calm, perhaps the calm before the storm.
So much division. There's then an eerie sense of calm, perhaps the calm.
There's an eerie sense of calm, perhaps the calm.
To do
face so much division. There's an eerie sense of calm, perhaps the calm before the storm.
everyone awaits the new Prime Minister. And of course, a huge weight
Minister.
of expectation. What will he say?
Expectation,
What will
what
he
he say,
do?
what will he
And
do?
ultimately,
And
what will
ultimately,
his legacy
what
be?
his legacy
No doubt
be?
the Queen
No
had
doubt
some
the
words
Queen
of
had some
advice
words
for
of
Mr.
advice for
Johnson
Mr.
when she asked
Johnson
him
when
to
she
form
asked
a
her to form
government.
a government.
After all,
After all, it's her 14th Prime Minister. And while Boris Johnson entered Downing Street alone, unlike his predecessors who walked with partners and children, his girlfriend, Carrie Simmons, stood aside in support.
We in this government will work flat out to give this country the leadership it deserves.
It deserves.
And that work
Flat out. We'll work flat out to give this country the leadership it deserves. And that work begins now.
Deserves. And that work begins now.
And he was quick to appoint a new crack team. Sajid Javid takes the top role of finance minister, becoming the first Asian to hold that position. He bid for the leadership role against Boris Johnson, as did Dominic Raab, staunch Brexiteer, and a new foreign secretary and deputy prime minister. Completing the top team is another Brexiteer, Priti Patel for foreign secretary. All change at the top, potentially no change when it comes to division in Parliament and the EU's stance. It will not reopen with Joe agreement. Government believes it can succeed where Theresa May's failed.
Where Theresa May's failed.
At CNN, London.
Probably there are a lot of many people in Britain who expect him to do something different from what Theresa May did. He's called Donald Trump in Britain. The UK version of Donald Trump. He's pretty radical and doing something really not strong but very clear. But unlike Donald Trump, he has a political career. He was in election many times, and he knows how to deal with the negotiation and the political situation. And he's actually he graduated from Oxford. I'm not sure this Senate doesn't write about it, but Harvard he is from Harvard University, and he has a lot of quite connections between many politicians. It's Oxford. He's from Oxford, and journalist as well. This journalist, he was not a businessman like Donald Trump. And he was mayor in London, and foreign minister as well. Well, he's rich in political experience. No ifs or buts. They're not supposed to compare his family and other family who became the prime minister in UK. This is kind of prejudice and agitate some bigots. And while Boris Johnson enters Downing Street alone, unlike his predecessors who walked in with partners and children, his girlfriend Carrie Simmons stood to the side in support. No, I didn't need this. Buckingham Palace to tender her resignation far sooner than she might have wanted. Far sooner. Yearly, there is an eerie sense of calm, perhaps the calm before the storm, as everyone awaits the new Prime Minister, and of course a huge weight of expectation. What will he say? What will he say? What he will do? And ultimately, what will his legacy be? There's an eerie sense of calm. There is an eerie sense of calm, perhaps the calm before the storm. Brexit. Boris takes over. Theresa May. Theresa May cultivated the situation for the Brexit in the UK Parliament, and she worked really hard and to prepare for resigning from the EU, and now the Prime is changed, and he will take responsibility and to work flat out to fulfill the promise.